Hey, are you ready for a grammar review? Well, ready or not, here we go. We're going to be going over our parts of speech, and if you have trouble with finding your parts of speech, you might want to refer back to this video just as a good refresher from time to time. Okay, so we're going to get started, and we might be singing some songs or quoting some things, so as I'm doing it, you please do it with me. Okay, our first part of speech, can you guess what it is? It is the verb, because pretty much everything revolves around our verbs. Verbs are pretty needy. So everything revolves around the verbs. We have three types of verbs. Remember, we have our state of being verbs that we've learned about, and remember, they just are. Am, is, are, was. Do you guys remember when you were on the top of your desks? Were, be, being, been. These are just, they just are. Their state of being. We also have our helping verbs. 23 helping verbs. And we're going to sing our song, and you're going to sing with me. Make sure you sing. Am, is, or was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had, do, does, did. You better be singing. Shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can. May, might, must, can, and could. Am, is, or was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had, do, does, did. Shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can. May, might, must, can, and could. And you better be singing that with me, because if not, you better go back and sing it again. All right, and the last thing is verbs show action. And we can see here, these are horrible drawings, but it has to be something that you can do, okay? Maybe this person is kicking a ball and this person is screaming for dear life. This is our verbs, and from this, we find everything else. The key for our sentences is always find the verb first. Everything revolves around the verb. We're done with the verbs. Next, we have our nouns. And the noun, I know it's simple, but even when we do our nouns, sometimes we forget. A noun is a name. Noun's name. Noun's name. Noun's name. Noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. A person, a place, a unicorn, or an idea. Maybe love and happiness. All of these are what we have. Our nouns are names of things. So our verbs show action or help, and our nouns name. Next, it's like a noun, but it just takes a place, like a substitute teacher. Our next part of speech is the pronoun, and a pronoun takes the place of a noun. So instead of the boy, now we will refer to him as he. It's a mystery. Instead of saying Miss Phelan or one of the girls' names, we refer to her as she or her. Well, for me, I guess I would just refer to myself as me. But for everyone else, we refer to all the ladies, she, her, and hers. And then, oops, I had a picture, but it looks like it's coming off, is, you can see, oh, they must be in love. And it's they. It's mystery people. You can decide who that is for yourself. Okay, I'm just thinking of Griffin's stories now that you tell. Okay, now our next one. Oh, and I drew this. Do you guys remember? Well, do you know what this is? And do you know why I did this? Because we have to remember that a pronoun, each one has a case. For example, subjective case is just things that come at the beginning for subjects. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. These are all our subject case, and they can only be used in the beginning. So if it said Reese and will be going to the mall, which no one's going to the mall now because it's quarantine, it will be, you can use any of these, he or she or you, but it cannot be one of these. You do not say Reese and her, or reason him went to the mall, because you're in the wrong case. Remember, like we said, you don't use a tool case to put your makeup on, and you don't use a makeup case to go as a suitcase. It just doesn't fit. Now, the next one is objective case. These are the ones that come after a action verb, and or they come with little words like to, from, beside, and you will learn later that those are called prepositions. But for now, we're just going to say this is your objective case: me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. And then our possessive case: my, mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, its, our, ours, their, theirs. And remember that all these words that are in pink, they can also be what part of speech? They can also be adjectives if the word right after them is the word they're describing. All right, let's say this one together. Ready? I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Me, you, him, her, it, us, them. Mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, its, our, ours, their, theirs. And remember how I used to say, I, me, mine, you. I'm not going to do that because I will be singing it alone, and I'm not going to do that. All right, so that's our pronouns. Pronouns, remember, take the place of a noun. A noun is the name of something, and a verb is something that we can do. Now we're going to go into our next part of speech, which are adjectives. And don't forget about our adjectives. They modify. Modify is another word for describe, and they only describe two parts of speech: the noun that names and the pronoun. Good thing I had those together. Okay, so you have the noun, and the pronoun is the word that they're describing. And remember, they answer these 5 questions. What 5 questions do adjectives answer? Ready? Which one? What kind? How many? How much? Whose? And these are our adjective questions that are describing nouns and pronouns. So think of a noun or a pronoun. For example, you already know. This is a noun, and we can think of words to describe it. Fluffy, cute, Miss Fairy Face, it belongs to me. Okay, so now, and you can already see that a possessive, something with an apostrophe S, is an adjective, because I'm not a noun here. I'm saying that this belongs to me. This is mine. Okay, so this is your adjectives to describe. Maybe you say, sweet, cuddly, pink. These are all words that would describe this. And so an adjective can only describe a noun or a pronoun. So if this is a noun, unicorn, we could say, which unicorn? We could say this unicorn, the pink unicorn. What kind of unicorn? This is a plush unicorn. How many? 1. How much? I guess that doesn't really make sense. And whose? Obviously, it is mine. These are adjective questions. Next, we have adverbs. And this is our last one that we've gone over so far. Adverbs describe or modify. Remember, it's right in the name. Verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Those three parts of speech. So they describe themselves sometimes. And we ask the questions where, when, how often, or to what extent with the verb. And so remember, the way we find these is that's why we did the verb first, because it reminds us we always find the verb first, then we ask the questions with the verb. So let's say we were doing a verb of jumped, and it is jumped where? Jumped there. Jumped when? Today or now. Those will be adverbs. Jumped how? Pathetically jumped. How often? Once. And to what extent? That was a very interesting jump. Okay, so these are adverbs which describe verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Remember, we find the verb first and then ask our questions. Do you remember when we have adjectives and adverbs where the adverb comes that describes an adjective or adverb every single time? Every single time. An adverb that describes an adjective or an adverb comes right before it. Don't forget that. So remember the videos, downright smelly. And maybe you could say, this is hard. This is not just hard, this is incredibly hard. It almost adds drama to it, okay? And flair. You can say, oh, that's not just an adorable thing, that is incredibly adorable. We can add any word right before an adjective or an adverb to describe it. And remember the three words that are always adverbs, to, so, and very, are always adverbs describing the very next word. I think you also memorized that not and N' T are adverbs, and you learned about negatives only using one negative per sentence. We don't want to be too negative. So we would avoid saying, I never did nothing for school. You say, I never learned, or I never learned anything from school, or different things like that. Well, hopefully you got a good review of your adverbs, verbs, adjectives, nouns, and pronouns. And if you need to, refer back to this video to give you a reminder of our parts of speech.